Okay, so Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Zuhanah Ali and now we're discussing one of the most interesting topic in ELE30, which is the theater design. So, for more information, kindly watch my video.
Welcome to the hidden engine of the storytelling. When we think about theater, our mind often jumps straight to the actors. But long before a single line is spoken, a world has already been built for them to inhabit. Theater design is the bridge between the silent words of a script and the sensory experience of the audience. It is where the literature becomes three-dimensional. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on this invincible art. We aren't just looking at how to make a stage look pretty. Instead, we are exploring how designers use psychology, history, and raw creativity to manipulate your emotions. By the end of this lesson, you'll see that every shadow on the wall and every texture on a costume is deliberate heartbeat of the story. Imagine walking into a dark room. Slowly, a single light fades up, and on a dusty chair, without a word being said, you already feel sense of history, loneliness, or perhaps anticipation. That is the power of theater design. Today, I'm going to show you how we transform a few pages of paper into a living, breathing reality. At its core, theater design is a collaborative language spoken through four primary voices: the set, the lighting, the sound, and the costumes. These aren't separate departments working in isolation. They are synchronized team. A set gives us where we are, and lighting tell us when and how to feel. Sounds create this atmosphere, and costume define who the people are. And when these four elements harmonize, the theater ceases to be a room and become universe. This transformation is defined by the three goals: to be immersive, communicative, and supportive. It must pull the audience into the fiction so deeply that they forget they are sitting in a chair. It must communicate complex themes like wealth, despair, or hope through visual cues. Finally, it must support the actors, giving them a physical reality that makes their performance feel learned and honest. Design is more than decoration. It is a sensory takeover. Think of it as a DNA of production. It is immersive, meaning it pulls you in a communicative meaning. It tells a story without words, and it's supportive meaning. It gives the actors a home. Every choices you see on a stage is calculated move to make the fiction feel like fact. Space is never a black canvas. It is a psychological pressure cooker. The physical environment of a play dictates the rules of the world. A story about a family falling apart feels vastly different if it is a set in a tiny cluttered kitchen where characters constantly bump into each other versus a cold cavernous mansion where they are separated by vast distance. The space itself creates the tension or the peace. Consider how the environment communicates characters and a plot. A character living in a house with a boarded up windows tell us they are fearful or hiding something before they even open their mouth. The environment also limit or expand the plot. A character trapped in a prison cells has a different options than one standing on a mountain peak. Designer use the same story, different word principle to completely shift on audiences' perception of the same script. Where a story happens is just as important as what happens. If we move romantic comedy from a sunny park to a dark, rainy alleyway, the jokes might feel a bit more desperate, right? The environment does the heavy lifting of a storytelling before the actors even arrive. It sets the stake, defines the character, and they manipulate how you feel about everything, every action on a stage. Every masterpiece needs a blueprint. And theater, the blueprint is the production concept. This is the central metaphor or master symbol that guides every creative decision. It's the answer to the questions, what is this play really about? If the director decides the concept of Romeo and Juliet is youth against a decade world, the designer will create a visual that contrasts vibrant, colorful fabric for the lovers against a gray, crumbling industrial set. This concept is the product of intense collaboration. Designer and directors meet for months, looking at art, listening to the music, and debating philosophy to find this unified vision. Without a clear concept, a production becomes a junk drawer of ideas that don't fit. With a strong concept, every light cue and every props feel like it belongs to the same heartbeat. The production concept is our North Star. It is the one big idea that ensures the lighting designer and the costume designer are making the same play. For example, if your concept is the word is cage, you might see literal bars in the set design or shadow that looks like cages on the floor. It is a visual metaphor that ties everything together. A unified vision is the difference between a good show and a life-changing one. It is the invincible thread that connects the red of a character dress to the red of sunset in the lightning and the aggressive red sound of a siren. No element can afford to work in isolation. If the costume designer creates 18th century gowns, but the set designer builds a futuristic spaceship, the audience will be pulled out of the story, unless, of course, that the clash is part of the concept. Achieving this unity requires total trust and constant communication. Designers share sketches, fabric swatches, and color palettes to ensure they are painting the same picture. When this synergy works, the audience doesn't see the sets or lights, they simply see the word. This seamlessness is what allows the story to bypass the brain and go straight to the heart. In a perfect production, you shouldn't be able to tell where the set ends and the lightning begins. We call this unified vision. It means that every designer is working from the same palette. When we all align, we create a theatrical truth, a word so consistent that the audience stops questioning it and starts living in it. Designers use a secret visual alphabet called the elements of design. The most powerful tool is line. A vertical line suggests strength and power, while a horizontal line suggests peace or stagnation. Dimension and scale are used to manipulate the character importance. A massive door can make an actor look child and vulnerable through these basic geometric tools. A designer can guide the audience eye exactly where it needs to go. Then came the color and texture. The emotional heavy headers, color is used to signify status, mood, or even character arcs. A character might start the play in a cool blues and end in warm oranges as they find happiness. Texture add the final layer of realism. The rough grain of wood, the cold shine of metal, or the soft luxury of velvet tells the audience skin what the word feels like even if they cannot touch it themselves. Think of this as an element as our visual space cabinet. We use line to direct your eyes, color to trigger your emotions, and texture to make the word feels real. If I want you to feel like character is draped, I might use vertical lines that look like bars. If I want you to feel the heat of the desert, I'll use texture that look cracked and dry. The physical stage itself is a design choice. The proscenium arc is traditional picture frame that separate the audience from the word of the play. A thrust stage brings the action closer by extending into the audience on three sides. The arena stage, theater in the round, creates a powerful immediate connection. And finally, the black box offers total flexibility for modern experimental production. Finally, the style of the design chooses the lens of the story. Realism mimics our everyday word, while expressionism distort reality to show a character inner nightmare. We might even use symbolism, where a single giant golden birdcage represents an entire oppressive society. The style tells us the audience whether they should watch the play with their logical brain or their dreaming heart. The stage itself is our first design choice, whether it is a traditional picture frame stage or a black box, where everything is flexible. The space dictates the relationship between the actor and the audience, and when we choose a style like realism or surrealism, we are essentially telling the audience what kind of dream they are about to have. Designer also choose a style that matches the play intent. Realism offer an accurate mirror of a real life. Selective realism uses a few key details to suggest a wider world, inviting the audience to use their imagination. Expressionism distort reality to show inner emotional truth, often with slanted walls and exaggerated angles. Lastly, surrealism and symbolism use dreamlike visual and simple objects to represent deep subconscious meanings. For the conclusion, theater design is never a linear process that balances artistic vision with practical reality. Every single choices, a color, chair, shadow carries meaning, as the great Robert Edmond Jones said. Designers need to immerse themselves in a play and even be baptized by it. Only through this deep immersion can they create an environment that truly serves the story. Design doesn't just decorate a stage, it brings the scripts to life.